All right, all you bee farm students out there, listen up. Today, we're going to dive into a real cornerstone of pharmaceutical engineering. It's a machine that's as clever as it is crucial, the multiple effect evaporator. Let's jump right in.
So, picture this. You've just discovered a powerful new antibiotic. It's a total game changer, but there's a catch. It's incredibly delicate, heat sensitive. To turn it into medicine, you've got to remove a ton of water, but just boiling it would completely destroy the drug. So how in the world do you solve that puzzle? Well, this is the exact problem the multiple effect evaporator was born to solve.
The absolute genius of the meaty comes down to two main principles that let it work smarter, not hotter. It's all about being incredibly efficient and super gentle at the exact same time. It does this with a brilliant mix of basic physics and a little bit of clever recycling. Let's break down exactly how.
Okay, first up, evaporation under reduced pressure. Now, you probably remember from chemistry class that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, right? Well, that's only at normal atmospheric pressure. If you start lowering that pressure, basically by creating a vacuum, you can get water to boil at much, much lower temperatures. We're talking 70 degrees, 50 degrees, sometimes even cooler. And that is the secret to protecting those fragile, heat-sensitive medicines.
And this slide, well, it lays it all out perfectly. Over on the left, you've got your normal conditions, high heat and a huge risk of ruining your precious product. But on the right, under a vacuum, that boiling point just plummets, and the drug stays perfectly intact. In the world of pharma, this isn't just a nice little trick. It's absolutely non-negotiable.
The second brilliant idea is something called steam economy. The best way to think about it is like a super efficient recycling program for heat. So instead of using expensive, fresh steam from a boiler for every single step, you only use it for the very first one. Then, the hot vapor that's created in that first step gets used to heat the next step. It's amazing. A 3-effect evaporator can get rid of almost 3 kilograms of water for every 1 kilogram of steam you put in. A single evaporator? That's just 1-to-1. It's a massive, massive improvement in efficiency.
Okay, so we've got our two core principles down, low pressure and recycled steam. So now, let's see how these ideas actually get built into a real machine. We're going to assemble a multiple effect evaporator, piece by piece, so you can see how it all fits together.
First up on our tour is the steam chest. Think of this as the engine of each individual unit, or what we call an effect. Now in the very first effect, this chest gets filled with fresh, hot steam straight from the boiler. But in all the effects that follow, it's going to be filled with that recycled vapor we were just talking about. Its one and only job is to transfer heat.
Right next to it, you've got the evaporation chamber. And this is where the magic happens. Your diluted product, whether it's that herbal extract or the antibiotic broth, sits inside this chamber. And when I say chamber, I mean these things can be massive stainless steel giants, sometimes several stories tall. Inside here, the heat from the steam chest makes the liquid boil, the water turns into vapor, and the product that gets left behind becomes more and more concentrated.
And finally, we have the support crew. The vacuum pump is the real hero here. It's what maintains that all-important low pressure across the entire system, letting everything boil at low temperatures. Then you've got the condenser, and its job is to take all the vapor from the very last effect and turn it back into liquid so it can be removed. These two are a team, and they keep the whole process running smoothly.
So, let's do a super quick recap. To build an MEE, what do you need? Well, you need at least 2 of those evaporator vessels. We call them effects. Each one gets its own steam chest and evaporation chamber. Then you just need to hook the whole setup to a final condenser and a vacuum pump. Simple in theory, but incredibly powerful in practice.
All right, our machine is officially built. All the parts are in place. Now for the fun part. Let's flip the switch and see this thing in action. Let's see how all this builds up into this really elegant, cascading process that saves energy and protects our product.
Okay, so how it all flows is what's truly crucial. Your feed solution goes into the first effect. Fresh boiler steam heats it up, and that creates vapor. That vapor then gets piped over to heat the second effect. Now here's the really clever part. Because the vacuum pump has lowered the pressure in that second effect, the recycled vapor is still hot enough to make the liquid boil again, but this time at an even lower temperature. This whole cascade just keeps going down the line, with each effect running at a slightly lower pressure and temperature than the one before it, until finally a super concentrated product comes out at the very end.
So that's the theory and the mechanics. But you might be wondering, why does this matter to me as a future pharmacist? That's a great question. Let's connect this amazing piece of engineering to the real world of making medicines and take an honest look at its pros and cons.
I guarantee you'll come across products made with this technology all the time. From concentrating active ingredients in herbal extracts like licorice for cough syrups to purifying life-saving antibiotics from big fermentation vats, the MEE is the powerhouse working behind the scenes. Basically, anytime you need to get water out of a delicate, heat-sensitive material on a really large scale, this is the go-to equipment.
Of course, like with any big piece of machinery, there are trade-offs. The advantages are huge, right? It's incredibly economical with steam, which saves a ton of energy and money. It's perfect for massive scale production, and most importantly, it protects the drug. But there's a flip side. These are complex, really expensive machines to install and run. You need skilled people to operate them, and they don't handle liquids that get super thick or viscous very well.
And that leaves us with a pretty interesting question to think about for the future. The multiple effect evaporator is a marvel of efficiency, no doubt. It clearly prioritizes saving energy over being simple. But as we look ahead towards the future of potentially smaller, more personalized batches of medicines, what do you think will become more important? Will it be the massive energy-saving scale of machines like the MEE, or will a new focus on simplicity and flexibility start to take over? It's definitely something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.